Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Fan Appreciation Month here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, you can tell I've got a little bit of a smile on my face. You see, it's because I should mention, I didn't even check the DVD for this movie until just about a minute ago. And prior to that, I was reading a few things on the back of the cover, or rather on the back cover of it, and it made me kind of giggle a little bit, and I'm going to share that with you in just a moment. But first, you guys might happen to remember a while back I did a movie. It was called Kung Fu Dunk, and that movie was a complete pile of shit. And it claimed to be the basketball version of Shaolin soccer. Well, this movie claims to be the baseball version of Shaolin soccer. Yeah, I am not even kidding you. Except the difference here is, where Shaolin soccer and Kung Fu Dunk were both Chinese, this movie is from Japan. The movie came out in 2003. The title is Battlefield Baseball. That title alone sounds awesome. Now, allow me to read you the bit on the back here, which made me kind of grin a little. This film has not been rated. Contains scenes of baseball carnage, blue-faced zombies, and musical numbers. Viewer discretion is advised. First of all, I never thought I'd ever read the phrase baseball carnage, because baseball's like the most carnage-free sport known to man. In theory, of course. I also have never heard of blue-faced zombies, and oh yeah, what do you know, there actually is a picture of said blue-faced zombies on the back. That looks fucking amazing. And musical numbers. Well, oftentimes, musical numbers can truly suck, so I totally understand why you would need a parental discretion warning if your movie carries them. But hey, even though that has me smiling, I don't know if the movie is going to be any good. So, it's time to find out. I'm really hoping, because this thing has an awesome title and it warned me about musical numbers and blue-faced zombies. If only I could find a movie that would warn you ahead of time about dicks being cut off, then hey, I'd be in heaven. Because then I'd know to avoid the goddamn movie. But then again, that's a totally different story for a totally different day. And if there is a God, since I've been really good with this, there will not be any genital mutilation in this movie. However, I just mentioned it, that's probably tempting fate in the worst way possible. This movie's probably going to be filled to the brim with it now. But there's only one way to find out. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Battlefield Baseball. Wow! Guys, I just saw a player explode after catching a pop fucking fly. That was absolutely amazing. What the fuck? Okay. Apparently baseball is played very differently over in Japan. I am gonna have to start watching baseball from there a little bit more often, I think. So let me see if I've got this straight. Fighting base like baseball is when one guy runs at another guy, and the second guy tries to hit the first with a baseball bat. Okay, that sounds way too awesome for words, and I want that to become an official fucking sport. That sounds absolutely fantastic. Oh my god, the back of the DVD wasn't lying when they were talking about musical numbers. You guys can hear this, right? This actually isn't too bad. I mean, it's kind of sappy sounding. It's a little bit too soft for my own personal tastes, but you know, this actually isn't too bad, you know? Ow. That was almost painful to see. The head coach for this team just bit off the ear of one of his players. So, I guess the coach sort of takes his cues from Mike fucking Tyson, huh? God, that joke was awful. You know, guys, I actually would just like to make this little mention right now. I seriously wish that baseball was even half as interesting as this movie is. Unfortunately, well, baseball in real life is a little bit dull. Just saying. So now the so now the star player of the Stedo team is now a cyborg. Okay. What the fuck is this thing now? Oh, it's the head teacher. He's a really fruity looking like cyborg. All right. I believe I'm willing to buy this. Sure. So Four Eyes took this poison bat right in his ass. That's magical and fucked up now, isn't it? Holy shit. Wow. That was probably one of the goofiest endings I have ever seen. And I'm talking about the twist at the very end of the goddamn movie. And no, I'm not going to spoil it for you. You guys really should watch this thing at some point. Oh shit. Okay. Let's talk about Battlefield Baseball, shall we? First, I want to start by talking about the writing. Oh man, the writing. First of all, I guess I was a little bit jaded going into this one because I had read a lot of reviews which compared this thing to Shaolin Soccer. And the last film I saw, the last film I saw which was compared in any way to Shaolin Soccer, was Kung Fu Dunk. And well, Kung Fu Dunk sucked ass. All right, I'm not even gonna fucking kid. That movie was crap. But oh man, Battlefield Baseball. Yeah, this thing's definitely a winner. And I think that like the best way to sum it up would be, and I'm probably going to reference a couple of films people have not heard of. Well, at least one, because this film is essentially what would happen if Shaolin Soccer, Major League, and the class of Nukem High all had just this wild ass orgy, and the gelatinous pulsating thing in the middle of the fucking room the following morning was this. Mind you, that actually almost sounds like a bad thing, but no, that is a very good thing. Because Shaolin Soccer, Nukem High, and Major League were all fantastic movies. This thing is kind of like the perfect mix. It sort of takes elements from all three of those films and runs with them. One of my favorite things, though, in terms of writing, because mind you, now that actually is just the story. I should mention the characters are kind of shallow, but the reason is because deep in its core, this movie is a parody of sports films. It is a parody of all of those cheesy, cliched sports films that a lot of people are just completely sick of. At least some people are. People like me. This thing works for me. The fact that this thing is able to take every single one of those cheesy ass cliches, and it's everything. It is literally everything from teammates showing up at the last second and a comeback from out of nowhere, and the speech about how it's all about teamwork and we all have to use the power of teamwork and friendship to win. All of that kind of monkey shit is all parodied here. A lot of it involves directly breaking the fourth wall. Our main character, who's walking this way on camera, he turns and looks directly at the viewer and announces this is all about the power of friendship and teamwork. It is some of the funniest shit I have ever seen. That is the kind of wit we don't see anymore in films. At least we don't see it often. And I love that. I love any film which is going to take every single hackneyed bullshit cliche from sports films or from any other genre of film and just give it the finger. I love that. To me, that is something to strive for if you're making a comedy and you are trying to spoof a certain genre. Effects. I believe, because I couldn't find the budget listed anywhere for this movie. I believe this was probably a rather low budget film, which also is why I threw the class of Nukem High into the orgy metaphor, or to the orgy thing I mentioned earlier, because that film also was made on the very, very cheap, and the gang in Nukem High looks a lot like the evil baseball team in this movie. You know, I mean, hell, that actually is a really cool thing because I really liked Nukem High. So just the very fact that we have an evil baseball team here, and they basically they essentially look like blue-skinned versions of the gang from Nukem High. I love that. And by the way, makeup effects. I might as well cover the makeup effects. Makeup effects look really good. However, in terms of special effects, there is very, very little beyond that. There is a little bit of gore. There is a, like little bit of blood, but almost everything is all makeup effects, and that's fine. Speaking of like effects and props, the weaponry. The weaponry is in every single one of the gimmicky every single one of like the gimmicky bats and the giant fucking like mallets and everything else. All of it looks goofy and cartoonish, and you want that. I believe in my heart of hearts that is exactly what they were shooting for. Mission accomplished. God, I'm trying to think. The soundtrack was pretty good, and yes, there actually is more. There is more than one musical number, and frankly, out of all of the music in the film, it is those two pieces of music that are probably the worst. Again, though, that was probably 100% deliberate. So I actually am able to kind of giggle at it. However, I do have to say that it really doesn't matter if it was friggin' done intentionally or not. It's still shitty music. It has to be mentioned. Camera work. Seeing as how this was a low budget flick, I believe I can talk about the camera. The camera work was done very, very well. Lighting actually is just a little bit sketchy here, because there actually are a couple of scenes where you will have a shot going one way and the lighting looks really good, and then the angle would shoot over and the angle will change, and it's the very same scene. However, now everything's either a lot brighter or a lot darker. That's probably because a lot of this is filmed outdoors, and it's really hard to match up that at times. So, seriously, that actually is like the only thing I can really gripe on, is just that lighting is just a little bit questionable. I'm going to say right now, there's no way in hell this movie is for everybody. I mean, shit, if you actually enjoy those sorts of, like, hackneyed sports films, you're probably not going to like it as a little film from Japan is telling every single one of those films to fuck itself. You're not gonna like this, I don't think, unless you have a really good sense of humor, and you're able to laugh at the stuff you actually enjoy. Otherwise, it actually says up here that this movie is from the team who brought us Versus. I've never seen Versus. A lot of people have told me I should watch it. So I'm just going to assume if you were a fan of Versus, and I am going to probably put that on the wish list or buy it at some point, if you liked that, you'll probably like this. I'm just going to make a wild fucking assumption on that. One more thing. For those of you who try to watch as many of my reaction and reviews as possible, or for people who want to go back and watch ones which they might have missed, when I did my review of Kung Fu Dunk, I said that one of the positives on that movie was that it was able to make me give a rat's ass about college basketball. Well, Battlefield Baseball here made me care just a little bit about high school baseball. I'm not kidding you guys. This thing is supposed to be based on high school baseball, and I cared a little bit. That is awesome, okay? That is really accomplishing a lot, and this film really accomplished tons, and I still have the feeling that there is not a whole lot of a budget there, and it does kind of show that too. If you are one of those people who really does not care for cheap looking films, you might not like this one because it does look a little bit. It does look a little bit cheap. So I just have to warn, if you seriously are, like turned off by that, you're not gonna like this. I'm just warning you before everyone goes out and they head over to Netflix or Redbox or whatever and you try to find this thing. Just heads up, it does look really cheap, and if you have a problem with that, you're probably not going to be able to look past that to see the awesome movie within. Now, as I have stated earlier, this is Fan Appreciation Month. Battlefield Baseball came off of the Amazon wish list. This one actually was sent in by another friend. You can find his YouTube channel at, or rather his YouTube screen name is Silent Night. By all means, guys, check him out. And as always, I'm going to provide a link to his channel. Swing over there, check it out. In fact, I actually did a little bit of voice work for him a while back, and that was a lot of fun. Wondering if he's ever going to work on the sequel to that, because I would love to work on that too. But then again, that actually is just me dipping into personal bullshit, and I shouldn't be doing that. So, yes, folks, again, I highly recommend this thing. Check it out. You will love Battlefield Baseball if you're really into corny, goofy, like spoof sort of films. Or if you like Versus. Again, I don't even know what the fuck Versus is, so I can't really even tell you anything about what the hell that movie's even about. But that is probably a different movie for a different episode. I can almost guarantee I will cover Versus at some point. So, folks, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.